So the handout you have in front of you here is called Initial Engagement. And this is the process of how to develop trust and open the boundaries between you and the client in the engagement phase. Now, after you have done psychological attending, which means you've read the case file, you've prepared yourself emotionally, you've left any baggage of the day at home, and that you have you are physically feel good, and there's no distractions. Now you're ready to go, and as the client comes to you and knocks on your door or whoever, you greet them, sometimes shake their hand, or at least talk with them with a little bit of chit chat, a little bit of small talk just to make them feel comfortable. Usually you praise them, thank them for coming in, and ask them to have a seat. I like to really share with them as they come into the room, and express how much I feel they're showing such courage to be there. When I introduce myself and provide introductions, I usually ask them what they would like to be called. Sometimes people will have a nickname, sometimes people like to be more formal, but I want to call them what they would prefer. And then of course I will use my name, and it's up to you depending on the age of your client. You may be Mr. Scott, or you want to just say Greg. That's okay. I like to also let them know a little bit about my credentials. And I went to Kuiper College, got a BSW, and then I went to Valparaiso University and got an MSW. I love working at this agency. I've been here 5 years, and it is just a wonderful place to work, and I'm excited about the people I meet here. So, you share a little bit with them so that they can get comfortable and relaxed. Usually at this point, I'll do a check-in, and a check-in is just to make sure to, how they're feeling. Now, you don't want to use a leading question, and a leading question would be something like, do you feel okay? That's a leading question. A neutral question would be more like, how do you feel right now? How do you feel with what I've shared with you so far? Is there anything you would like for me to repeat or explain more fully? So you want to take the emphasis on more of a neutrality in your check-in than in something that would they would say something so there it would be just to please you. I then like to give them informed consent, and informed consent is letting them know what counseling is about. And the best way to remember this is I kind of chunk the words together. Like counseling is a problem solving method. We might take some risks. You might have some homework to do. We're going to explore insights. This is a process where I will be asking questions and want you to really try to work hard in this relationship, in this process. There might be some testing instruments. We might do a genogram or an echo map, or something more deeper of a psychological vein. And that's okay to share that with them. You don't want them, you want to tell them everything that's coming or what you would do. Otherwise, they might be frightened and suspicious of your motives. I always like to let the client know that they are the ones doing the work. So please come prepared, have issues, talk with me, try to get out of your comfort zone if you can. And you are the expert on yourself. And I put that's kind of a strengths-based approach, and let them know that they can solve their own problems, and I'm here to help facilitate. I'm not the expert, but they are. They know themselves better than anyone. I let them know also that they can see their file if they want to, and I also let them know if uh, of any kind of signed releases that I might do to gather information at a different agency. Again, I would do a check-in, and then I share with them a little bit about some of the ticky-tack details that are involved in counseling. How long are the sessions? How much do they cost? Date and time? Do they have transportation? Do they need childcare? What happens with missed appointments? What happens on the weekend or off hours? And who can they call? What are their agency rights? How long are the sessions going to go? When is the termination date? Some clients have your whole client rights already spelled out on a card. So this one is a little bit of more of a factual policy section, but I like them to know what's going on. That's informed consent. And then really the big one on the first session is confidentiality. You have to do this in the first session. If you don't, the client might say, hey, I want to tell you something, but you can't tell anyone else. Well, in reality, you cannot make that deal. They might go off and try to hurt themselves or others, or commit a crime, or get someone in trouble. We do not have absolute confidentiality. We have relative confidentiality. And that means that, yes, we will keep things private. This is a safe place to be. This is the pillar of our profession. It builds trust. This is sensitive information that I will hold very dear. But then there are a couple things that I have to let you know that I would have to break confidentiality. And I don't try to dwell on this part. You don't want to make this too heavy, but just also to know, if there's a risk to self or others, that's always the big one. I would have to break confidentiality. Abuse to elders or minors, videotaping. I will always let them know if I'm videotaping or if there's a camera in the room. I do have to talk to my supervisor every now and then about cases. Sometimes the case will come up in a case conference with my peers that I have to share. If there's an insurance company involved, I do have to send reports to them. And sometimes if they are adjudicated and involved in the court system, I will have to give a report to the judge. But I let them know all of this in the beginning. And that way they know when I have to break confidentiality. And I will tell them, hey, this is something that I have to share, and we cannot make a deal and keep it private just between us. Again, I would do check-in. I would praise them, let them know how courageous they are to be in counseling, their willingness to seek help. And then I ask the non-directive opening line. And this now starts data collection, the second phase. And it's something, when I say non-direct, it's a very open-ended question. What would you like to talk about today? Where would you like to begin? What brought you in today? I never say, how can I help you? Because that has more of kind of a doctor-patient, and it puts too much expertise on myself. I want them to be the expert, and I ask them, what would be most helpful to talk about today for your case? And try to give them ownership and put them in the driver's seat. Well, that's kind of the process of engagement. Engagement also includes the way you dress, the way you sit, the solar, SOLER, your office, the way it looks, the eye contact you make and the smile that you give, you're all building trust during this whole process because you want the client to tell their story. That's the most important thing. You want them to tell their story. Thank you very much.